That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? Remember back when Rogue One came out and Grand Moff Tarkin made an appearance? Somebody might say, wait a minute, I thought Peter Cushing died. And wouldn't Peter Cushing be 117 years old now? I don't know how old he would be today. But of course, they CG'd the face. They got another actor and then they did some CG magic on his face. And listen, especially at that time, made a very convincing looking Grand Moff Tarkin of that. Okay, that was 8 years ago. Well, now, a company owned by Lucasfilm is being sued for using Peter Cushing's digital likeness. This comes to us from CBR, and this gets interesting. Follow along here. Per the Times, Tyburn Film Productions filed a lawsuit against Lunic Heavy Industries, a Disney-owned company. So we're just going to say Disney from now on instead of Lunic Heavy, okay? So Tyburn Film is suing Disney, a sub-company that worked on Rogue One, over their use of Cushing's likeness in the 2016 Star Wars spinoff Rogue One. The company claims it made an agreement with Peter Cushing before his death, preventing the use of his digital likeness with special effects without their, Tyburn's, permission or approval. All right. So this company is saying in their lawsuit that Peter Cushing, we made an agreement with Peter Cushing before he died, that if anybody wants to use his digital likeness through special effects, they got to go through us, right? And it brings up this big topic of conversation the last number of years about using actors' digital likeness. It was a big point of contention in the SAG strike, obviously for good reason.
Because the video game strike, we're still dealing with AI.
The video game one is huge. All that kind of stuff. Now, a lot of people read that headline, being sued for using Peter Cushing's likeness. Okay, and are instantly getting outraged, saying, how dare Disney just use the man's image without permission? Here's where it gets a little bit sticky. You see, Disney did get permission. Here's the thing. Lucasfilm and Lunic Heavy Industries contest, this is Disney. Lucasfilm contests the claim, arguing that they didn't need permission from Lunic to recreate Cushing's image under his original contract for New Hope. Instead, they got permission from Cushing's estate for a fee. The companies tried to have the lawsuit dismissed, but a judge rejected the motion in December 2023. So here's the thing. Under all normal circumstances, if you want to use the name of, or the likeness of, or the recordings of, or the property of somebody who is deceased, you obviously can't get that person's permission. So the standard operating procedure is you get permission from the family or the estate as it goes, right? You go to the estate, which is often the family and the people who have interest, and you get their permission, and maybe you even pay a fee to the estate. Disney did just that. They went to the Cushing family and to the estate. They requested permission to use the digital likeness of Peter Cushing. They negotiated a deal that they would pay a fee to the estate for the rights to use the digital likeness. And they got permission from the family. Along comes Lunic, or not Lunic, what's the name of the company? Tyburn. Along comes Tyburn and says, well, no, you see, actually, we made a deal with Cushing privately that says we should have been the ones to get paid. Now, here's where it gets more tricky. Disney then went to the court and said, can we please have this lawsuit dismissed because we went to the estate and we got permission. We were not made aware by anybody that some deal existed between this Tyburn company and Peter Cushing just before he died. We went through the right process. We got permission. We paid a fee. They want to have it dismissed. Now, the court refused to dismiss the case, but it doesn't sound like it has much chance of winning. CBR continues to write this. As a result, Lucasfilm decided to appeal the decision in a London hearing on July of 2024. However, in a ruling on September 9th, Deputy High Court Judge Tom Mitchison, KC, rejected the appeal and said that the case should go to trial But the judge acknowledged that while he was far from persuaded that Tyburn Film Productions would win the case, it wasn't at least unarguable and required a full factual inquiry. So basically, the judge said, no, we're not going to dismiss the case. Although I am far from convinced that you can win this, it should at least be brought up and have an inquiry in a court case. So I'm just going to say, before people get too mad at Lucasfilm for, how dare you use somebody's digital image without permission? They did get permission. They paid for the permission. Apparently, they just didn't know that there was some secret last-minute deal before Peter Cushing died between even the estate didn't know about it. So it doesn't sound to me like they're going to have a leg to stand on here. If anything, this Tyburn company might have to sue the estate to get the money that Disney paid the estate. But I don't see how Disney's going to be on the hook for this at all. Anyway, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, BetterHelp. Hey guys, it's John here. You know, as kids, we're always learning new things, whether it's how to ride a bike, play an instrument, or even ace that math test. But as adults, it seems like we lose a bit of that natural curiosity. When was the last time you learned something new just for the fun of it? Like new skills, a new language, or maybe just how to finally beat your best friend at that game. You know, therapy can be a fantastic way to reconnect with that sense of wonder. It's like going back to school, but this time it's for you. It's about learning new coping skills, setting boundaries, and empowering yourself to become the best version of you. And the best part, it's not just for those who have experienced major trauma. It's for anyone looking to grow and learn more about themselves. If you've ever thought about starting therapy, why not give BetterHelp a try? It's completely online, making it super convenient and flexible to fit into your schedule. All you have to do is fill out a quick questionnaire and you'll be matched with a licensed therapist who fits your needs. Plus, if things aren't clicking, you can always switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. So rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Campea today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Campea. Take the first step to being your best self. Chris, you talked about this. This is such a big issue about studios, especially as technology is progressing, about studios using technology to digitally recreate deceased actors and performers. You pointed out this is very big in an industry you're very heavy in the video game industry as well. When you see this, how does somebody from your perspective look at this situation?
You know, the knee-jerk reaction is, oh my gosh, Disney took advantage of this situation. And then you read all the details. And yes, if you do contact the estate and you go through those channels, you think that you've done your due diligence. So it does feel like this is going to be an issue between the estate and the company in question, not necessarily Disney, because it does feel like they did what they were supposed to do. Also, I just want to reiterate, because the chat was like, why is this happening now? This has been in legal proceedings for years and years and years.
Oftentimes the legal machine moves very, very slowly.
Exactly. Yeah. We just don't get, this information until further down the road, typically. So this has been happening for a while. It's not like they waited all this time and went, you know what? Let's get some money from Rogue One. So there's that. The thing that this makes me excited about, honestly, is it does bring light to people thinking that the AI discussion is over because the strike ended, at least the strike that most people talked about. Most people talked about the TV film strike, writers, actors, that sort of thing, with AI being this big looming thing. A lot of people don't know that SAG-AFTRA then also went and made a deal with Replica Studios for licensing your voice, your likeness, etc. to AI. This was a deal that SAG-AFTRA said they did with affected members weighing in and voting on the situation. Thousands of members came through the woodwork here saying, nope, didn't get contacted. Stephen Bloom, who is a Guinness World holder for voiceover voices, he's got 300 credits, I believe.
Wow.
Was not in this conversation. A whole bunch of people were not in this conversation. And this is the sort of thing why voice actors right now for video games, motion capture performers for video games are on strike, because all the AI stuff is still a very looming threat where our own union, to an extent, and this is just my opinion, I'm not speaking for every SAG-AFTRA member, is having us sign our own pink slips. So when you see it in somebody iconic like Peter Cushing's role, that foul stench that we should have noticed right when we walked on board, it makes it so I hope other people realize that journeyman actors are struggling with this as well. Deceased actors, their estates and everything are dealing with this. This is an ongoing discussion that wasn't wrapped up neatly just because the strikes ended. We've got one going on right now that luckily 80 different companies have signed on for video games, but AI is still a real big problem. So I'm just hoping this gets more people researching and educating themselves and learning more about the intricacies of how you do sell your voice should your estate want to do that, or your likeness.
Does it sound to you when we read through the story, did Disney, Lucasfilm, did Lucasfilm act inappropriately here from what we understand from the story?
This is one of the few times where I'm going to side with the corporation. Because you know how I feel. You and I have had disagreements too about this, about how everyone's handled things. And I obviously have a vested stake in this because I experience this differently than you experience this, right? But this is one where it feels like Disney and Lucasfilm did their due diligence. And it feels like there are just several steps that, since this is a brave new world or a potentially terrifying dystopian one that we are entering, that there's so many channels that even the bigwigs aren't sure of what they need to do. And that's why we need to have really clear-cut ways of navigating these murky waters.
Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? It sounds like this is going to go to trial, but I don't know what the chances are of it succeeding. Maybe there's other information we still don't know about yet. And again, it just highlights, like Chris was saying, that the issue of digital reproduction and all that kind of stuff is still a very big looming question mark over the entire industry that they haven't fully dealt with yet. Whatever you guys think about this and how you see the situation, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.